Get in the car, Isaiah. Now. The words came from Alex Thornton's mouth, but they weren't steady. They slurred at the edges, her normally razor-sharp syllables dissolving like sugar in rain. Isaiah Chen froze in the marble lobby of the Ashford Grand Ballroom, his hand still gripping his daughter's backpack, the one he'd forgotten to drop at home before driving Miss Thornton to the company gala. Around him, executives in $1,000 suits pretended not to notice. But Isaiah noticed everything. The way Alex's hand trembled against the limestone column. The sheen of sweat on her forehead despite the October chill. The emptiness in her eyes. Not drunk wrong. Now, Isaiah. Her knees buckled. He moved without thinking. His arms caught her before she hit the marble, the backpack with Molly's name embroidered on it swinging from his shoulder as he steadied his boss. The woman the media called the Ice Queen, the woman who'd never spoken his first name before tonight. Before we go any further, if you're already feeling where this is headed, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what starts as one man doing the right thing is about to turn into a war he never saw coming. Drop a comment if you've ever helped someone and had it used against you. And smash that like button if you're already rooting for Isaiah and his daughter Molly. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this plays out. Isaiah Chen's alarm went off at 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes before Molly needed to wake up for school. He moved through their small apartment in practiced silence, coffee, shower, laying out her clothes on the chair beside her bed. The dinosaur shirt. The one she said made her brave. By 6:45 they were in his Honda, her backpack between them, driving through Philadelphia's waking streets. He dropped her at PS 142, watched her run toward the gates with her lunchbox swinging, then drove across town to the underground garage where the Mercedes waited. Black. Spotless. A car worth more than he'd earn in 5 years. By 8:15 he was in position outside Ashcroft Holdings, waiting for Alexandra Thornton to emerge from her building. The Ice Queen, they called her. In 8 months of driving her, she'd never once asked about his day, never noticed the child's backpack he sometimes forgot to remove from his shoulder. To her, he was invisible. A uniform. A function. And Isaiah had learned that invisible meant safe. The Ashford Grand Ballroom glittered like a jewelry box designed to make everyone inside feel either powerful or small. Isaiah stood by the service entrance, hands clasped, watching the gala unfold through the forest of designer gowns and tailored suits. Alex moved through the crowd with her usual precision, every handshake calculated, every smile measured. Then Isaiah noticed Julian Vane circling her like a shark. The COO appeared at her elbow with champagne, again and again, his hand hovering too close to her back. Alex accepted the first glass. Then the second. By the third, Isaiah saw her posture shift, a subtle loosening that didn't match her ironclad control. Something tightened in his chest. He'd driven Alex home from 100 corporate events. She never drank more than 1 glass. Never. When Julian appeared with a 4th glass, whispering something that made the executives around them laugh, Isaiah took a step forward without thinking. Then stopped. He was the driver. Invisible. It wasn't his place. But his hands wouldn't unclench. Get in the car, Isaiah. Now. The words came from Alex's mouth, but they weren't steady. They slurred at the edges, dissolving like sugar in rain. Isaiah caught her before she collapsed against the marble column, his forgotten backpack, Molly's backpack, swinging from his shoulder. Her skin was cold. Too cold. Is she drunk? Someone whispered. How embarrassing, Julian Vane added, satisfaction dripping from every syllable. Isaiah's jaw tightened. I'll take her home, he said quietly. I don't think that's appropriate, Julian said, phone already rising. Perhaps security should handle this. She asked for me, Isaiah replied, something new and sharp entering his voice. I'm her driver. I'll take her home. He guided Alex through the lobby, past the stairs, past the phones capturing everything. The Mercedes glided through empty streets, while Alex's breathing grew shallower. Stay with me, Ms. Thornton, he whispered. Her head rested against the window, lips moving soundlessly. He didn't know someone was following them. Didn't know the real nightmare was just beginning. When they reached her estate, Isaiah had to carry her. The porch light activated, illuminating them in harsh white light, him in his driver's uniform, her limp in his arms, the cream blazer sliding off her shoulder. He didn't hear the camera shutter in the darkness. Didn't see the photographer Julian had positioned across the street. Isaiah got her inside, checked her pulse, called her private physician whose number was listed in the emergency binder. "Don't leave her alone," Dr. Morrison said. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. And Isaiah? If anyone asks, tell them food poisoning. Nothing else." Isaiah waited in her marble foyer, surrounded by wealth that would never belong to him, his daughter's backpack still on his shoulder. Through the window, his reflection looked small. Invisible. The way he'd always been. He didn't know that across the city, Julian was already uploading the photo. Didn't know the caption being written, "Inappropriate relationship alleged." Didn't know his invisibility was about to shatter into 1,000 cutting pieces. I see some of you have been following Isaiah's story from the beginning. Thank you. For those just discovering this, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because the moment Alex wakes up, everything Isaiah thought he knew about his safe, invisible life is about to explode. Isaiah's phone buzzed at 6:47 a.m. "Come to the estate. Now." Alex's voice. Not her assistant's. When he arrived, she was standing in her kitchen, barefoot, hair loose, looking more human than he'd ever seen her. "The doctor ran tests," she said without preamble. "Someone drugged me last night. Rohypnol mixed with something else. You saved my life, Isaiah." He didn't know what to say. She crossed the marble floor, her eyes locked on his. "I know what they're planning for your daughter." His blood went cold. "What?" "Julian's been tracking your family for 3 months. School pickup times. Your neighbor who watches Molly. Your custody arrangement. He was going to use last night to trigger my company's morality clause and destroy both of us. But mostly you." Isaiah's hands shook. "Why?" "Because you're the only person in that building I trust, and Julian can't have that." Her voice dropped. "They're coming for Molly, Isaiah. And if we don't move first, they're going to take everything." Isaiah drove to Ashcroft Holdings the next morning because routine was all he had left. The Mercedes was already gone from the garage, reassigned. He walked toward the employee entrance in his Honda, Molly's backpack on the passenger seat where he'd left it the night before. He never made it through the door. 2 security guards stepped in front of him, their faces carefully blank. "Mr. Chen, you need to come with us." The HR office smelled like artificial lavender and fear. A woman he'd never met slid a folder across the desk, her manicured nails clicking against the wood. "We're terminating your employment effective immediately. Inappropriate conduct involving senior personnel." The words hit him like physical blows. "I drove her home because she asked me to. I saved her life." The woman's expression didn't change. "We have photographic evidence suggesting otherwise. You carried Ms. Thornton into her home while she was incapacitated. Witnesses report you were alone with her for over 30 minutes. That's because I was waiting for her doctor. I called him." The woman opened the folder. A photo slid out. Isaiah carrying Alex. Her head against his chest. His hand on her back. The backpack cropped just enough to look sinister instead of innocent. A second photo. Him leaning over her on the couch, checking her pulse. The angle made it look like something else entirely. "We're prepared to involve law enforcement," the woman said, her voice dropping to a practiced sympathy that made Isaiah's skin crawl. "Sexual assault of an incapacitated person is a felony in Pennsylvania. However, if you're willing to sign a statement confirming that Ms. Thornton has been behaving erratically and may be unfit for her position, we can handle this internally." Isaiah's vision tunneled. They weren't just firing him. They were trying to destroy Alex and use him as the weapon. "Sign the statement, Mr. Chen. It protects everyone." He thought of Molly. Of child services coming to Janet's door. Of custody hearings where a felony charge would end everything. His hand reached for the pen. Then stopped. "No," he said quietly. The woman's eyebrows rose. "Excuse me?" I said no. "I won't sign anything." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "Then you'll be hearing from the police. We have statements from multiple executives who witnessed your inappropriate behavior. We have these photos. And we have Ms. Thornton's own security system showing you entering her home. What do you have, Mr. Chen?" Isaiah stood, his legs steadier than he expected. "The truth." "It won't be enough," the woman said, almost pitying. "It never is for people like you." Isaiah walked out of Ashcroft Holdings for the last time, past the whispers, past the phones recording his walk of shame. In his car, his phone buzzed. Text after text. Screenshots from social media. Janitor couldn't keep his hands to himself. Driver exploits drunk CEO. Single dad, what kind of example is he setting? His hands gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles went white. Then he drove home to his daughter. Molly was at school. The apartment was silent except for the heating unit's rhythmic clank. Isaiah sat on the floor of her room, surrounded by the debris of their small life. Her backpack lay open in front of him, contents spilled across the carpet. A half-finished math worksheet. A book about dinosaurs from the library. A drawing she'd made of the two of them, stick figures holding hands under a crayon sun. Daddy and Molly forever, written in her careful 6-year-old handwriting. Isaiah's hands shook as he picked up the drawing. He'd spent 8 months being invisible because invisible meant safe. Keep your head down. Don't make waves. Don't give them a reason to see you because once they see you, they can target you. And if they target you, they can take her. But they'd seen him anyway. And now they were coming for Molly not because he'd stood up, but because he'd saved someone's life while being the wrong kind of person. A poor person. A black man. A single father who didn't have the luxury of fighting back. His phone buzzed. Marcus, another driver. Bro, I believe you. But you should know, Julian's people are talking to everyone. They're building a case. They're going after your custody. Isaiah closed his eyes. The old Isaiah would have run. Would have taken Molly and disappeared to another city, another state, somewhere they could start over with new names and smaller dreams. But running meant Molly grew up knowing her father taught her that the truth didn't matter. That power always wins. That people like them should stay invisible. His phone buzzed again. Alex's number. Don't answer any calls from HR or legal. Don't sign anything. Meet me at the industrial park on Kemper Street tomorrow at noon. Come alone. Trust me one more time. Isaiah looked at his daughter's drawing. At the backpack that had become evidence. At his reflection in her bedroom mirror, a man who'd spent his whole life trying to be small enough to survive. He texted back one word, okay. Then he opened his laptop and did something he'd never done before. He logged into the Mercedes's internal system using the fleet management password all drivers shared for maintenance reports. Every company vehicle had a black box. Dashcam footage, GPS data, internal cabin recordings. Everything. If Julian wanted to use photos to destroy him, Isaiah would use the truth to fight back. The download took 40 minutes. When it finished, Isaiah had everything. Alex's slurred speech. Her saying his name. Her begging him to help her. The timestamp proving Dr. Morrison had been called immediately. And something else. Audio from earlier that evening. Julian's voice, crystal clear, talking to someone in the parking garage before the gala. The drug works fast. She'll be incoherent within an hour. Make sure the driver's the one who takes her home. We need him implicated. Isaiah's hands stopped shaking. He saved the files to 3 separate drives, uploaded encrypted copies to a cloud service, and emailed one set to an address Alex had included in her text. Then he picked up Molly's backpack, carefully repacked her belongings, and hung it by the door. Tomorrow, he'd show his daughter what happens when invisible men stop hiding. The Ashcroft Holdings boardroom was on the 42nd floor, accessible only by private elevator with biometric security. Isaiah knew this because he'd driven executives there 100 times, waiting in the garage while they made decisions that changed lives they'd never see. He also knew the service elevator went to 41, and maintenance had keys to the stairwell. Being invisible meant people forgot you were listening. Isaiah wore his driver's uniform. Carried a maintenance clipboard he'd bought from a hardware store. Walked through the lobby at 2:47 p.m. when the security shift changed and the new guard was still getting settled. He nodded at the man. Maintenance call, 41st floor. HVAC issue. The guard barely looked up. Isaiah took the service elevator. His heart hammered against his ribs, but his hands were steady. At 41, he found the stairwell, climbed 1 flight, and emerged into the executive hallway. Voices echoed from the boardroom. Julian's voice, smooth and confident. As you can see from the evidence, Ms. Thornton's judgment has become severely compromised. The incident with her driver is merely the most visible example. Isaiah pushed open the door. 12 executives turned to stare. Alex sat at the far end of the table, her face composed but her eyes blazing. Julian stood beside a projection screen showing the photo of Isaiah carrying Alex, blown up to 6 feet wide. Security, Julian barked into his phone. Isaiah walked forward, the USB drive in his hand. I have something the board needs to see. You're trespassing, Julian said, his face reddening. You were terminated for assault. Mr. Chen was terminated for saving my life, Alex said, standing. And he's here at my invitation. That's not, Julian started. I'm the CEO, Alex cut him off, her voice like a blade. This is my boardroom. And you're about to find out what happens when you drug a woman and try to frame a good man for your own corporate coup. Isaiah plugged the drive into the system. The screen changed. Audio first. Julian's voice from the parking garage. The drug works fast. She'll be incoherent within an hour. Make sure the driver's the one who takes her home. We need him implicated. Gasps around the table. Then dashcam footage. Alex stumbling. Isaiah catching her. Isaiah calling the doctor, his voice shaking with fear but completely professional. Isaiah checking her pulse, backing away the moment Dr. Morrison arrived. Every timestamp. Every word. The truth in high definition. Julian lunged for the laptop. 2 board members caught him. You drugged me, Alex said, walking toward him slowly. You tried to trigger the morality clause to remove me. And when Isaiah saved my life, you turned him into a criminal to cover your tracks. But you forgot something, Julian. You forgot that invisible people see everything. Security arrived. Real security, not Julian's people. The CFO who'd smirked at Isaiah that first day stood slowly, his face gray. If even half of this is true, we need law enforcement. All of it's true, Alex said. And I have Dr. Morrison's toxicology report, 3 witnesses Julian tried to bribe, and security footage of him meeting with my competitors the day before the gala. She turned to the board. Julian Vane is terminated effective immediately. Criminal charges will be filed within the hour. And the morality clause he tried to use against me? I'm invoking it against every person in this room who knew what he was planning and said nothing. The boardroom erupted. But Isaiah didn't hear it. He was watching Alex, and she was watching him. And in that moment they both understood they'd saved each other in ways that had nothing to do with CPR or dashcam footage. Julian was escorted out in handcuffs, still shouting about lawyers and defamation. The board members scattered like roaches when the lights come on. And Isaiah stood in the center of the room where he'd never belonged, finally visible, finally seen. 3 weeks later, Isaiah sat on the front steps of Alex's estate, Molly beside him eating an ice cream cone that was melting faster than she could lick it. Alex sat on the other side, barefoot, her designer suit jacket discarded, looking more relaxed than Isaiah had ever seen her. Your new office is ready, she said. Chief of Security and Ethics. That's a mouthful. Molly giggled. You said mouthful. Alex smiled. It means your dad is going to make sure what happened to us never happens to anyone else at the company. That's a big job, Molly said seriously. He's good at big jobs, Alex replied. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. In the distance, Philadelphia glittered with the same indifferent beauty it always had, a city that created both monsters and miracles depending on who was watching. They found 12 people Julian was blackmailing, Alex said quietly, so Molly wouldn't hear. Employees with sick kids, immigrants worried about their status, people with past mistakes he'd weaponized. All of them terrified to speak up. Like me, Isaiah said. Like both of us, Alex corrected. She turned to look at him. I spent 10 years building that company thinking power meant never showing weakness. Never trusting anyone. Never letting them see you as human. She paused. You saved my life twice, Isaiah. Once in that ballroom, and once when you refused to run. I just told the truth. The truth only matters when someone's brave enough to tell it, Alex said. You were brave. So were you. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Molly chase fireflies across the lawn, her laughter bright and uncomplicated. 2 people who'd been invisible in different ways. Him because the world refused to see him, her because she'd built walls so high no one could look in. And somehow, in fighting back against the people who tried to destroy them, they'd found something neither expected. Not romance. Not a fairy tale. But partnership. Trust. The kind of friendship that's forged in fire and comes out stronger than steel. Molly ran back, her backpack bouncing on her shoulders, the same one that had hung from Isaiah's shoulder the night everything changed. Daddy, can we come back here? I like it. We can come back any time, Isaiah said, looking at Alex. She nodded. Any time at all. As they walked to Isaiah's car, not the Mercedes, not anymore, but his own vehicle because he didn't work for Alex now, he worked with her, Isaiah felt something he hadn't felt in years. Safe. Not because he was invisible, but because he'd been seen, and survived, and won. And for the first time, he believed Molly would grow up knowing her father taught her the most important lesson, that the truth, spoken by brave people who refuse to stay silent, can change everything. Even in a world designed to keep people like them invisible. Especially then. Thousands of you have followed Isaiah and Alex's story from that first moment in the ballroom to this step on the mansion where they're finally free, and that means everything. If this story moved you, if it made you believe that one person standing up can change everything, subscribe so you're here for the next story about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're building something special here, a community that believes the invisible deserve to be seen. Don't just watch, be part of it.